An overview of Data Center. We're going to have a look at the features of Data Center. Click on the module. We'll start with the link at the very bottom of the list, which is how we set up our database fields. Now we set these up to match the fields in our customer database, as well as we create fields here for any that we want to include in forms. So as you can see here, there's quite a large list of different fields that we've created. We can search on these at a later date when data from our customers is put into those fields. At the very bottom we can add a new field, and let's have a look at one of the fields when we go into Edit. Several options are available. We can name the field. It's also good to put in a short name into it, which I just usually actually create as exactly the same. It helps when you're importing members into your database. We can assign a macro that we can use on our other web pages, and macros are covered off in another one of these instructional videos. If we can choose the type of field, and for example, if we're choosing a radio button, we can assign values such as yes and no to those in the values field. But in this instance, it's a single line text block. There are other options here such as multi-line text blocks, dates, and other options that you can explore. We can also have a look at what type of data it is, whether it's a first name, a surname, and some other options there. Below that are some options that we have. For example, we can make this field visible to people's Edit My Info unsubscribe page. This is an option you want to keep if you want people to be able to access their information and change certain things such as new email addresses or new phone numbers, new addresses. We can also make these mandatory fields or fields that appear at checkout if you have the commerce module, as well as whether these are event attendee details that you want if you are using Event Center. So that's how we create data fields. Going back to the Data Center features list, we have the option of viewing a bounce manager, and what that is if we send out an email and unfortunately it doesn't go through to our recipient, the system creates a bounce list, and it's a good thing to look at and review, and maybe if you have some spare time, call up those who appear in the bounce list to just check and make sure that their details are correct. The main thing that would be incorrect would be their email address. We can import new members into our database from using a .csv spreadsheet from our master list. This instructional is covered off in a different video that you can watch. Just going back, we can manually add new members to our database individually by simply putting in name, details, address, and whatever we want into the fields that we have here. The mandatory requirements are that there's a first name and an email address. Going back to our list, we also have our search and selection options here. So there are a few options here. We can select all of our members. And this gives us a good option of once all of our members are compiled. Just wait for that. As you can see, it gives us the number of people who are on our database, and then further down the list you've got some options to export the set, which is a good way of keeping our database up to date, which will include people who've signed up online. Go back to our search options. We can also perform a lookup, which can be based on data attributes. For example, anyone who was referred by someone, you can search in that field, or whether they're choosing someone's interest, whether it's in this case networking or personal coaching. It's a handy way of finding subsets from our database. And then the last option there is to set up a selection criteria. As you can see, there are several already set up. This is how we create subsets of our database, by searching on field attributes, such as, for example, anyone who's interested in personal coaching who perhaps is in a certain area. So we can do searches on address fields, such as postal codes here. And then by searching on those, we then, for example, I'll show you, here we go. We add that selection criteria. Now we've selected that, we can add other attributes to the selection criteria. However, once we've done that, we can choose Save. We can name it, such as coaching people in New South Wales, for example. Save, and then as you can see, this appears in our selection criteria, and we can use that to personalize pages, as well as send out emails that with sections that only these people can view. So that's pretty much Data Center.